is the Next Level Loan Officers podcast. To learn more about Next Level Loan Officers, go to becomennl.com.
Hey, this is Frazier with Lead Pops and Next Level, and I'm proud to present this episode of the Next Level Loan Officers podcast. Lead Pops is the industry's only future-proof growth solution. You can check us out at leadpops.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Next Level Loan Officers podcast. I'm Sean Zomanoff. Special treat today, joined by co-founder Shane Kidwell. We are bringing you the #1 podcast for loan officers by loan officers, the United States, the world, the universe, maybe the multiverse. Shane, how are you, bro? Welcome.
I'm blessed, man. I'm excited for this and excited for 2023.
So you can tell that I've been watching some Marvel with the kids as I'm talking about the multiverse here, but you know what?
No judgment, Sean. We're in a judgment-free zone for one more minute.
It's okay, man. If you don't like me in Marvel, you find a new friend. Shane, so as we are embarking on a new year, just wrapped up a year, and I didn't think that there was a better topic that we could talk about than starting. And, you and I are both pretty darn disciplined in our regiment and what we do with a lot of things in our life, how we start our days, our weeks, our months, our years, and what better time than now to talk about how we lay out our plan.
Yeah, I love it, man. And I think that the challenge for a lot of people is what we have done is done the work to understand what's important to us so that when we talk about laying out our week, it's intentionally designed around the things that matter. And so I want to frame the conversation from that regard, because we're going to talk about what to do, what not to do, how we start our week, when we get up. A lot of it is like very simple blocking and tackling. The real work was when, you and I went to, California and worked on the beach with sandbags, and we're in the classroom and met with our coaches and, designed our life based on like our true goals, which typically aren't monetary goals, although that may be the byproduct of the goal. It wasn't like, hey, I want to be 20 pounds lighter. It's like, I want to be able to move effectively when I'm 70, right? So I just want to frame this for everybody, because a lot of times what we do in the mortgage industry is we say, I want to do 200 units, I want to do 60 million, and I want to make 700,000. And then you end up having like a shitty life with no balance, right? Or you're super disciplined, but you're a robot and you don't have any empathy and you don't really have any passion for what you're doing. So for this conversation, I'm very excited to talk through the blocking and the tackling, but please know that there was a lot that went into like the decision before the decision on how we start our week.
Well, and that's just talking about preparing and starting things. But, before we started Next Level, and while we've been creating and evolving, I was actually talking with an exec at a company earlier this week, and he was like, man, one of the things that I appreciate most about you guys is you continue to reinvent yourself and change with the market, whereas a lot of programs have just been what they are. And so we've spent a lot of time to get here and keep evolving. But I just think about the Zig Ziglar quote that, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And so for us, this really revolves around the idea of a 90-day season. It's something that we call Power 90. And if you hear from the gurus and listen to them, the reason that you do 90 days is because, first of all, if you do a year-long plan, which you should have year-long goals, but they should be broken down. But if you do a year-long plan, you probably overestimate what you can get done in a year. You're going to underestimate, though, what you can get done in 5. And I've been guilty of it so many times in my career. I do this year-long plan, and then like next October, I happen to be going through a drawer in my desk and pull it out and be like, dang, Shane actually got some of this stuff done. And so the biggest thing is starting with writing down these 90-day outcomes that you have. And once you get clear on them, so these are ATMs that we talk about. And Shane, for you and I, it starts our week starts the week before. Now, I used to do this on Sundays, but I go for some long runs on Sunday mornings. I'm up to like 15 miles on a Sunday morning now, Shane. You want to pat me on the back a little bit.
That's better. That's better than the 14.9 that I run.
Oh, okay. Okay. And so I know that so I've actually, I'm doing it how you do it, and or how you've done it for a long time. And so I've started on Saturday mornings. I plan my week for the next week. Now we're a little bit different. You're a little more honed in on the calendar. I'm a little more of a free spirit, but I sit down on Saturday morning, and I want you to share what you do. But I sit down on Saturday morning, and I look at the things that are already planned on my calendar, and then I ask myself, Sean, what money making activities are you going to do next week that are going to move the needle in your business? And I pencil in 5 to 7 hours of money making activities. Some of those are like the same things right now. Like I'm looking at, I've got 1,300 people in HomeBot. So like I'm looking to see who was active in HomeBot. Got quite a few pre-approvals out right now. I'm scheduling 20 minutes to follow up on my pre-approvals and talk to the realtors that are on there. Those are really good money making activities. And so I schedule that time out, allowing for my ADHD brain to have some time to drift and do the things that I need to do as I pinball between things. And so you do similar, but your calendar's a little more regimented in some aspects.
Yeah. And so when I look at my calendar, so I start Saturday morning because for me, I want to honor my weekend time and actually enjoy it and not drag my anxiety from Friday into Saturday and Sunday. And so Saturday morning for me, it's that 5:30, 6 a.m. time, where that's my time before my daughter gets up, before my wife gets up, and I get to own that hour and a half. Now, I'll tell you, when I look at my calendar, the first thing I'm doing is I'm focusing on making sure that my 3 daily commitments are addressed every day. And I simplified this. So I had things in a great exercise everyone should do is there's some cards you can buy that have kind of passions and desires on them. It could be like adventure, it could be romance, whatever the case may be. And through a business coach and I, in over an hour, we went from 100 different things that I identified with down to 5. And those 5 things are the things that if nothing else like happened in my life, I would focus on adventure. I would focus on family, things like that. So the 3 things I do every day is everyday Olivia, which is my daughter. And so for many of you, it might just be everyday family, everyday active. I move every day, and everyday soul care. So that means that I'm taking care of my mind. In the morning, I do devotionals. I do Bible studies. In the evenings, I have a little devotional I listen to on my drive home that resets my brain from a long day back to my family. So when I look at my calendar, those 3 things have to get done every day for my day to be accomplished. Then I go and I start looking at the money making activities, and I actually color code my Outlook. Sounds like a nerd thing to do.
It is. It's okay.
It is, but it's really powerful to do. Is any activity I'm doing in my week that makes me money, and it doesn't have to be like I'm getting paid today. It could be that I'm on the phone with like Jason Frazier going over a lead generation idea. It's not gonna make me money today, but if I don't do it, I'm certainly not gonna get money in the future. That's green time. So and then everything else in my day is gray. So, and I fill that calendar. Now, what you'd be is like, well, do you time block your entire day? Well, yes and no. So like, let's say that I'm going to an appointment at 3:00 and I know it takes me an hour to get there. I put a time buffer of an hour so that my calendar doesn't get booked, so that I'm back to back to back to back to back. I do that so I don't have anxiety in my day. On Saturday mornings, I'm with all of this in mind, I'm not only redesigning my next week, I'm making sure there's no gaps. I'm making sure there's no overlaps. I'm checking in with appointments. So about 15 minutes of my Saturday morning is, hey, Sean, I want to make sure we're good for 3:00 on Thursday. I'll be coming from another event at 2:00. Keep in mind, like I've been an hour. So I'm very, very disciplined in making sure that I run my calendar. My calendar doesn't run me. And as I'm looking at that, I'm making sure that I have everyday soul care, everyday active, everyday Olivia. So I'm spending time with my family so that when I get home, whether it's 1:00 or 6:00, I know I've moved, I've invested in my daughter, and I've invested in my soul care.
So we've talked about the week, and Shane's broken down the day. I'd like to share with my day a little bit so you can have another perspective. So I like to wake up at dark 30. It's usually somewhere between 3:45 and 4:30. And I'm weird.
You are weird in that regard.
But so there's this great men's organization, this workout organization. And if you guys are listening to it, check out F3. And Fitness, Family, Faith, or what the 3F stand for, which really goes along with our 4 principles here of fitness, family, faith, and finance. So when I found F3, it really worked well. So bunch of guys, we work out at 5:30 every morning. Now, I usually wake up earlier because I'll meet a few guys and we'll go for a run or put on our rucksacks and ruck for 30 or 40 minutes before the workout. We call them beat downs. So I do this, and this is like, these couple of guys that I do this with on a regular basis. And they know more about me than almost anybody on the planet does. That they know what's going on with my wife. They know what's going on with my personal issues, my successes, and I really open up with them and talk about anything. Cause like it's therapy. And it is great to have other men who are in similar positions that I am in life, with kids and wives, and, you know, that I can do this with. So it really helps me get my mind right for the day. And then we go work out really intensely for 45 minutes, have some coffee together. And then after that, I'm home by 6:45. Usually my kids don't wake up till about 7:10. So get to hang out with my wife for a few minutes. And then we get the boys up and ready for their day. Do that thing. And then I like to start my day at work with gratitude. So everybody should be writing handwritten notes. I don't care who you are. You should be writing handwritten notes. And I like to write 10 a week, but scheduling time to write 10 a week, I don't think is as productive as it is to write 2 a day. Because when I get into the office, I write 2 handwritten notes. So I start my day with gratitude. Sometimes that takes me 20 minutes to do it. Sometimes I knock it out in like 5 minutes, but just being able to thank someone or say, hey, Shane, you're awesome. I really appreciate you. You know, Ashley, that call that you did last week, Rebecca, man, that was inspiring. I just took these ideas and met with my team, and I just wanted to let you know the impact that you're having. So I can do that every day. Now, if it just works for you to write 10 a week, it's fine. I'm telling you, your soul will be recharged in a different way if you can do that every day for yourself, though.
Well, and Sean, like what you've described and what I've described, because I start my day fairly early. Now I feel like I'm lacking after listening to you start your day. But what these really are, and I think everybody needs to have these are anchors, right? So every day you're anchored in that band of brothers, that workout, getting your endorphins going. I do my devotional, I stretch, I'll listen to something good. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts, or I listen to books through like Audible. And so I'm constantly feeding my mind. That's an anchor, whether it's a physical anchor or a mental anchor. We live in a time and work in an industry where it's up and down, stress, anxiety, highs and lows. And man, it's like you're on a inner tube getting pulled by a boat at 150 miles an hour on a 200-mile wide lake. It's exhausting, and you're getting whipped back and forth unless you anchor yourself. And so what you're talking about with these handwritten cards is anchoring your morning, the workouts. What I do, I anchor, and you anchor your week on Saturday and then anchor your day every morning. And so, a lot of people will say, I even saw this ad on Facebook where the guy said, yeah, people who like wake up early in the morning routine, that's not the key to success. And I firmly disagree. Like, yes, you could anchor your day and start at 10 a.m., but I've been kicking your ass for 4 hours if that's what you're going to do. And we're in a very competitive industry. And so I don't like to lose. So I just think, and depending on what coast you're on, like I'm on the West Coast, I'm 2 hours behind Sean, even if I get up at the same time as Sean. So I do think there's something to having anchors in your day and in your week. And then again, as we talk about, Power 90 is a 90-day season where you're anchoring yourself for 90 days, having yearly goals. You're anchoring yourself for a year. And the longer the time frame, the bigger the goal, right? Shorter the time frame, the more specific these actions are. But it's so important because we're moving into, I think, probably the most opportunity that I've ever had in the industry. And I've been in since 2009. And when I got in 2009, it was very similar to this time in a lot of ways. People were jumping off the boats, jumping out of windows, telling me I was crazy, and they lacked a lot of vision. They lacked a lot of discipline. And instead of saying, hey, the reason I'm not unsuccessful in a unique market is because of me, they blame it on the investor, their company, their branch manager, the weather, the politics. And the reality is that they're just not anchored. They're not anchored in who they are. They're not anchored in the actions that matter. They're not anchored in what they want and why they want it.
It's so amazing when you get clear. We talk about clarity being power. And it is, we have a golden opportunity in front of us. It's funny, you were talking about jumping off boats. I mean, yeah, there literally were 12, 13 years ago, people jumping out of windows, and there is so much opportunity in front of us. And, people talk about being crazy as I quit a cushy exec position and opened up my own company and went back to originating. And they're like, you did that going into the worst winter that we've had in the mortgage industry. And how long? And I'm like, yeah, because doing this now and building this right now gives me an amazing opportunity. And the last couple of years were plenty good enough that it affords me the opportunity to be able to do that now. So as you're starting your year, I want you to first, I just want you to think about some things that you can agree to with yourself. Can you agree to every Saturday or Sunday morning? And as I've switched to Saturday mornings, there is more power in doing it on Saturday mornings to set up your next week, because you get to close. It's a great close to the week. You can reflect on the things on your calendar that did get done and didn't get done. So I do meditate almost every morning as well too. And I want to talk about something in meditation that we talk about, the practice of meditation. And if you ever read about it, it's always talked about as a practice, because you're always getting better. And in meditation, your mind drifts. The most yogi of whatever meditator dudes and dudettes, their mind still drifts. And so when that happens, you don't get mad at yourself for your mind drifting. You're like, oh man, it's probably been 30 seconds or 4 minutes. Wow, I just went down a rabbit hole in my head. But you reward yourself for being aware that you just caught yourself drifting. So a Saturday morning, I can look back and I got 3 of 5 things done that I really needed to my calendar. There's other things got in the way. Oh, but I'm aware of this is what's gotten in my way. So I can close the book there and start on next week. So pick the things that Shane and I have told you and talked about that we do, that you can incorporate into what you can do in your weeks. And then when you get clear on that, work on a 90-day season. Put goals in place, ATMs, actions that matter, that you can have, that will move the needle, proactive sales efforts in your business, and put those down. I mean, if you really want to make it easy on yourself, all you got to do is go to becomenl.com and you can check everything out that we have. You can get a free strategy call. You can go over things with one of our coaches on exactly where you are. I mean, there is no community on the planet that is giving you the value that we are at $197 a year, $197 a month. You pick it. And we just want you to change your life, whether it's us or somebody else. I'm obviously incredibly biased. So Shane, I know that we can deliver for you, but just choose to plug in, do something different. Otherwise, it's going to be June and you're going to look back and be like, damn, I listened to this podcast and Shane and Sean told me how good business was going to be, but I didn't believe them because I had my head in the sand. And now I can't catch up because I'm not prepared.
Yeah, I'll leave everyone with this. I've learned in my life more from my failures than from any success. And what I've learned is that regret is the outcome of poor planning. If you don't plan, you will regret. Now, you might mask that regret with blame, anger, frustration, but it's regret. You're regretting the fact that you're not where you want to be with your health, with your weight, with your marriage, with your finances, with your kids, whatever the case may be, because you didn't plan ahead. And Sean, everything is practice. right? Like, I've learned since 2009 so much in how to be a professional, an entrepreneur. I'm still learning every day. It's a practice. It's a daily habit. It's setting anchors in my day, my week, my month, my life. It's being really clear on the pillars in my day and in my life that are non-negotiable. In the time frame that we live in, words have so much less meaning and impact than they used to. We can say harmful things to people that before people would never say, and it's just written in a newspaper today like it's no big deal. We can make commitments and say, hey, I will be there at 5 a.m., non-negotiable, and then show up at 5:20 as though we were successful. The reality is that the difference between the winners and the winners just do what they say they're going to do. They work with discipline. They have a plan. And when the plan doesn't work, they reevaluate what they did wrong. And when the plan works, they evaluate who helped them get to where they are. That's through coaching. That's through mentorship. You brought up Next Level. Whether you join Next Level or not, we have a hope that you'll be successful this year. You're not going to do it on your own. Like I coached with a Navy SEAL for about a year, and he didn't just walk into BUD/S, become a SEAL day one, and walk out of BUD/S. It was a process, a maturation. It was building anchors in his day, mentorship, leadership, and a lot of hard work. That's true for us. This could be your best year ever if you're willing to put in the work. And it starts by taking a true, honest assessment of yourself. Get that doctor's appointment for your business, jump on a coaching call, invest time with a mentor or a friend, and start to build those anchors in your life.
Shane, Next Level family, friends, thank you. Have an awesome day wherever you're at. Peace out, y'all.
Thanks, guys.